A man once stood outside a door he was absolutely certain would change his life. He had worked for it, prayed for it, waited for it. Everything in his mind told him, this is it. He could already see his future behind that door, the life, the peace, the success. It all felt so close, almost within reach. So he knocked and waited, but the door didn't open. Not immediately, not after a few moments, not even after a long time. So he knocked again, harder this time, more desperate, more certain that this was meant for him. Still nothing. And slowly, that certainty turned into confusion, then frustration, then pain, because in his mind, this door was not just an opportunity, it was the answer. So he stood there longer than he should have, hoping, waiting, refusing to walk away, because walking away felt like losing everything. But what he didn't know was this: behind that door was not what he imagined. It looked right from the outside, but inside it carried something he would not have been able to handle, something that would have slowly taken his peace, something that would have changed him in ways he never expected. But he couldn't see that. So to him, the closed door felt like rejection. It felt like delay. It felt like something was being kept from him, until one day he was forced to leave. Not because he wanted to, but because he had no choice. And it hurt, because he believed he was walking away from his future. But months later, he found himself standing in front of another door, one he never planned for, one he never expected, one that didn't even exist in his imagination before. And this time when he knocked, it opened easily, naturally, without resistance. And what was behind it was better than anything he had pictured before. Not just in what it gave him, but in how it changed him, how it brought him peace, how it aligned with his life in a way that felt right, not forced. And that's when it hit him. If the first door had opened, he would have never reached this one. If his earlier prayer was answered, he would have missed what was actually written for him. And suddenly, that delay he once hated became something he was grateful for, because it didn't hold him back. It redirected him. And maybe right now, you are standing in front of a door like that, a door you are convinced is meant for you, a door you keep knocking on, a door you keep asking Allah to open, but it hasn't. And that silence is starting to feel heavy. But what if that door is not opening because it is not meant to? What if what feels like rejection is actually protection? Because not every door you desire leads you where you think it will, and not every delay is something working against you. Sometimes it is the only thing standing between you and a life you were never meant to live. So before you assume you are being held back, before you let frustration take over, pause and ask yourself, what if the door that won't open is the very thing saving me? You keep asking for it, but something feels off. You keep going back to the same dua, the same request, the same hope again and again and again. You ask Allah for it when you wake up. You think about it. During the day, you whisper it again at night, because in your mind, it makes perfect sense. It looks right. It feels right. It seems like the missing piece that would finally bring you peace. And yet something is not moving. Something is not opening. Something is not happening. And that's where the confusion begins, because you're not asking for something bad. You're not chasing something clearly harmful. From your perspective, it's good. So why does it feel like it's being held back? Why does it feel like there's resistance? Why does it feel like something is off? And the strange part is this: you can't explain it. There's no clear reason, no obvious sign, no loud warning, just a quiet feeling deep inside your chest, a subtle discomfort, a hesitation you can't fully understand, and you try to ignore it. You tell yourself, it's just fear. It's just overthinking. It's just because I want it so much. So you push forward, you keep asking, you keep imagining, you keep holding on. But that feeling doesn't leave, because sometimes that feeling is not confusion, it's protection. You see, you are asking based on what you can see. You see the surface, you see the opportunity, you see the potential, you see how it could make your life better. But Allah sees what you don't. He sees what is hidden behind it. He sees what it leads to. He sees what it slowly becomes. He sees what it takes from you over time. And this is where your understanding ends and His wisdom begins. Because there are things that look beautiful but carry damage you cannot detect yet. There are paths that seem perfect but lead you somewhere you were never meant to go. There are people who feel right but slowly pull you away from who you are supposed to become. And if Allah gave you everything exactly when you asked for it, without protection, without delay, without redirection, you would walk straight into things that would quietly destroy you. Not instantly, not obviously, but slowly, subtly, in ways you wouldn't even realize until it's too late. So instead, He places something inside you, a feeling, a pause, a hesitation, not loud enough to scare you, but strong enough to stop you. And at the same, He delays the outcome. Not because He's ignoring you, but because He is guarding you. And this is where most people misunderstand their situation. They think, why is Allah not giving me what I'm asking for? But the real question is, what is Allah protecting me from that I cannot see? Because sometimes if you got what you wanted immediately, you would thank Allah in the beginning and regret it later. But when Allah delays it, you feel pain in the beginning and thank Him later. And right now, you are only seeing the first part, the waiting, the confusion, the silence. You are not seeing what you're being saved from. And that's why it feels unfair. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it feels like something is wrong. But let's slow down for a moment. Think about your past. There were things you once wanted so badly, things you thought you needed, things you believed would make you happy. And when they didn't happen, you felt exactly like this, confused, frustrated, questioning. But now, when you look back, you see clearly, you see why it didn't work. You see what it would have led to. You see how it would have affected you. And suddenly what once felt like a loss now feels like protection. Now imagine this moment, the one you are in right now. The thing you are asking for, the thing that feels delayed. What if one day you look back at this exact moment and realize the same thing? What if you realize that the delay was not empty, that the silence was not neglect, that the hesitation you felt was not random? What if it was Allah subtly guiding you away before you could harm yourself? Because Allah does not always protect you with obvious signs. Sometimes He protects you quietly, without explanation, without clarity, without giving you all the answers. And that requires something very difficult from you, trust. Not the kind of trust that is easy, not the kind of trust you feel when everything is going your way, but the kind of trust that exists in uncertainty, in confusion, in delay. The kind of trust where you say, Ya Allah, I don't understand this. It doesn't make sense to me. I feel lost in this moment, but I trust that you see what I don't. That kind of arja. Trust is powerful because it means your faith is not dependent on immediate results. It means your connection to Allah is not based on whether things go your way. It means you understand something deeper. That Allah's knowledge is not limited like yours. That Allah's wisdom is not confined to what you can see. And that sometimes what feels off to you is actually Allah correcting your direction. So next time you feel that hesitation, don't rush past it, don't ignore it, don't silence it, sit with it, reflect on it. Ask yourself, why does this feel uneasy? What if this delay is not against me, but for me? Because not every door that remains closed is a missed opportunity. Some doors are closed so you don't walk into something you will spend years trying to escape. And not every feeling of discomfort is weakness. Sometimes it is guidance, a quiet signal, a subtle protection, a mercy you cannot fully understand yet. And yes, it is hard. Waiting is hard. Not knowing is hard. Feeling like nothing is moving is hard. But what is even harder is getting something you begged for and realizing it was never meant for you. So be careful what you rush toward. Be careful what you assume is right, because your heart can want something deeply and still be wrong about it. And Allah, out of His mercy, steps in. Not always by taking it away instantly, but by slowing it down, by delaying it, by placing that quiet feeling inside you. So you pause, so you reconsider, so you don't walk blindly into something you will regret. And maybe, just maybe, this moment right now, this exact delay, this confusion you are feeling is not a problem. It is protection in progress. So instead of asking, why is this not happening? Try asking, Ya Allah, what are you saving me from? And that shift, that small change in perspective can bring a kind of peace that no immediate answer ever could. This weight is changing you. Even if you don't notice, you think nothing is happening. That's the first illusion. Because when you look at your life right now, it feels still. The situation hasn't changed. The answer hasn't come. The door hasn't opened. And because nothing is moving on the outside, you assume nothing is happening at all. But what you don't realize is this: the most important work is not happening around you. It's happening within you, quietly, slowly, without noise, without announcements. And that's why you miss it. Because you are watching your life, but you are not watching yourself. You are measuring progress based on results, but Allah is working on your readiness. And those are two very different things. You want the outcome. Allah is shaping the person who will receive that outcome. And that process takes time. Think about it honestly. If you received what you are asking for right now, would you really be able to handle it? Not just hold it, handle it, maintain it, protect it, stay grounded with it. Or would it expose weaknesses inside you that you are not ready to face? Because sometimes the problem is not what you are asking for. The problem is the version of you that is asking. Your patience may not be strong enough yet. Your emotions may not be stable enough yet. Your heart may still be attached to things that would ruin what you receive. Your mindset may still collapse under pressure. And if Allah gave it to you now, you wouldn't just struggle with it. You might lose it. Or worse, it might change you in ways that distance you from Him. And that is something Allah protects you from, even if it means delaying what you want. So instead of giving it to you immediately, He begins a different process, a deeper one. He starts changing you, not loudly, not instantly, but through the wait itself. Because waiting is not empty. Waiting is a workshop, a place where parts of you are being rebuilt, strengthened, refined, but you don't notice it at first. All you feel is discomfort. You feel the stretch of time. You feel the silence. You feel the frustration. But inside that discomfort, something is happening. You are becoming more patient, not because you chose to, but because you had to. You are learning to sit with uncertainty. You are learning to move forward without clear answers. You are learning to trust without seeing. And those are not small things. Those are transformations. Because patience is not just waiting. It is stability, it is control, it is the ability to remain steady when everything inside you wants to react. And that kind of patience cannot be built overnight. It is built through delay, through moments where you don't get what you want, through situations where you have no control. And slowly, without realizing, you begin to change. You start reacting differently. Things that used to shake you don't affect you the same way anymore. Situations that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Your emotions become more balanced. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your heart becomes less dependent on outcomes. And this is where the shift happens. Because now you're not the same person you were when you first made that dua. Back then you wanted the result. Now you are learning the process. Back then you were focused on gaining something. Now you are being shaped into someone, and that is far more valuable, because what you receive will always be limited, but who you become will affect everything in your life. And Allah knows this. He knows that if He gives you something without preparing you, it might harm you more than benefit you. So He delays, not to deny you, but to align you, to make sure that when it comes, you are ready to handle it, ready to appreciate it, ready to use it in a way that brings you closer to Him, not further away. And sometimes that preparation requires removing things from you, habits, attachments, ways of thinking, even people, because there are parts of your life right now that cannot go with you into what you are asking for. They would clash, they would interfere, they would corrupt what you receive. So during this delay, Allah begins to separate you from them, slowly, subtly, not all at once, but enough for you to feel it. And that's why this phase can feel so uncomfortable, because it's not just about waiting, it's about losing certain things along the way. It's about outgrowing parts of your life. It's about becoming unfamiliar with who you used to be. And that can feel confusing, even scary, because you are in between, not who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. And that space feels unstable, but it is necessary, because growth always feels uncomfortable before it becomes clear. And one day you will look back at this phase, this exact delay, this exact waiting, and you will see it differently. You will see how much you changed, how much stronger you became, how much clearer your thinking is, how much more grounded your heart feels, and you will realize something powerful. If we had received what you wanted earlier, you would not have been able to carry it the way you can now. You would have mishandled it. You would have taken it for granted. You would have lost it or let it change you in the wrong way. But now you are different. Now you can hold it without it controlling you. Now you can receive it without losing yourself. Now you can carry it in a way that aligns with who you are meant to be. And that is why this wait matters. Even if it feels slow, even if it feels silent, even if it feels like nothing is happening, because something is happening, something important, something necessary, something you will not fully understand until later. So instead of asking why is nothing changing, try asking who am I becoming through this? Because the answer to that question is the real purpose of this delay. And once you understand that, waiting no longer feels like punishment, it feels like preparation. You check the time, but your heart feels heavy. You keep looking at the clock, not just on the wall, but inside your mind. How long has it been? How much more do I have to wait? When will something finally change? And the more time passes, the heavier your heart feels. Because it's not just about waiting anymore. It's about what the waiting is doing to you. It's the quiet pressure, the overthinking, the constant replay of the same questions with no answers. You wake up thinking about it. You carry it through your day. You go to sleep with it still sitting on your chest. And slowly, time stops feeling neutral. It starts feeling personal, like it's working against you. Like every day that passes without an answer is a sign that something is wrong. And that's when the thoughts begin to shift. Did I miss my chance? Was this never meant for me? Why is everyone else moving forward and I'm still here? And that comparison makes the weight even heavier. Because now you're not just waiting, you're watching others not wait. You see people getting what you prayed for, doors opening for them, opportunities finding them, things aligning in their lives, while yours feels paused, and it creates a silent frustration inside you. Not because you're jealous, but because you don't understand. You did the same things. You made the same effort. You had the same hope. So why is your timing different? Why does it feel like your life is moving slower than everyone else's? And this is where something very important happens, something most people don't notice. You begin to attach your peace to timing. You start believing that if things don't happen soon, something must be wrong. You start measuring your life based on how quickly things move. And without realizing, your heart becomes restless, unsettled, constantly searching for signs, constantly needing reassurance, because delay begins to feel like loss. But here is the truth you are struggling to accept. You are focused on when. Allah is focused on what. You are asking, when will this happen? Allah is deciding, what will this do to you when it happens? And those are not the same question. Because timing is not just about speed. It is about impact. Something can come early and harm you. Something can come late and benefit you. And the difference between the two is not visible to you right now. You see waiting as wasted time. Allah sees waiting as necessary alignment, because everything in your life is connected. Your situation, your mindset, your environment, the people around you, your level of understanding, your level of discipline, your level of reliance on Him, all of it matters. And if one part is not ready, the entire outcome can be affected. So Allah delays it, not because He wants to test your patience endlessly, but because He is aligning things you cannot see. Think about it this way. Have you ever rushed into something before? Something you were excited about, something you didn't want to wait for. And at first, it felt right. It felt like everything you wanted. But later, you realized it came at the wrong time. You weren't ready. You didn't handle it properly. It didn't bring the peace you expected. And maybe it even created more problems than it solved. Now imagine if that same thing came to you later, when you were more stable, more aware, more prepared. Would the outcome be different? Of course it would. And that is the difference timing makes. But when you are in the middle of waiting, you can't see that. All you feel is delay. All you see is time passing. And all your heart wants is relief.